Hello everyone, today we're going to look at usaco-training mother's milk. In this problem we're given 3 milking buckets, which each have a capacity labeled A, B, and C, in which each of these capacity is in the range from 1 to 20. And initially buckets A and B are empty while bucket C is full of milk. And Farmer John, he can choose to pour milk from one bucket to another bucket, until either if the second bucket is filled or if the first bucket is empty. Okay, and then he must complete the pour. Okay, and you cannot remove any units of milk. Okay, so we're supposed to calculate all the possible values of the amount of milk in bucket C when bucket A is empty. Okay, so for this case, we're given A equals 8, B equals 9, and C equals 10. Okay, so the values are 1, 2, 8, 9, and 10 is because each of these can be a possible value in bucket C when bucket A is empty. For example, initially, since bucket A and B have 0 and bucket C have 10, then 10 would be an answer because bucket A is empty. 1 would be a valid answer because if bucket C first poured 9 units into bucket B, then bucket A would be empty and bucket C would have 1. Okay, so let's just put this out. So we're given A equals 8, B equals 9, and C equals 10. Okay. And basically, our answers are 1, 2, 8, 9, and 10. And notice that each of these value, or each of these capacity is in the range from 1 to 20. Or actually, it can be from 0 to 20. And basically, if you look at these, for example, in the beginning you have 0, 0, and then you have, for example, here we have 10. You can treat this as a state. So the maximum amount of states we have is basically 20 cubed, 20 cubed, which isn't a lot. And since we don't actually have to calculate any specific values, but we just need to calculate the values in bucket B when bucket A is empty. Then basically, since 20 to the third is not a lot, we can basically start a depth first search. For example, we can start from depth first search of 0, 0, and 10, because this is our starting state. And then now we need to make our next how do we make our next state? So we can either pour from bucket A to bucket B. Okay, so let's put this A to B. We can also pour from A to C. We can also pour from B to A, B to C. We can also pour from C to A, and C to B. Okay, so if you pour from A to B, your next state, you know that basically, let's call this small a, small b, and small c. Okay, so the amount you're going to pour is the minimum of a and b. So then this would be left with a minus min a, b. The second value would be b, or actually it would be basically it would be b plus because you're adding this min a, b. Okay. Oops, let me write that neater. And C would be the same. Again, over here, your A would be minus min A and C, since this is the amount you're going to pour. And B, it would stay the same, and then it would be C plus min A, C. Okay, and this would actually be similar for the rest of these cases. And then you can actually notice that basically once we have basically like because you don't want to like recalculate the same thing you did before. So basically after like calculating for this state, we can mark this state as true or as like we visited it before. The next time when we reach this state, we just don't have to calculate it again since we know that we already calculated all the possible values from this value. So now all we need to do is so now before we start or before we traverse into these 6 cases, we just check if basically if a is equal to 0. If it's 0, then you can basically have a array or a vector, whatever you need to you just like push back C. So basically you just insert C into your answer. And then at the end you just store your answer and you just print it. Okay, so let's get to coding. Okay, so this problem is called Mother's Milk. Okay, so let's include bits. Okay, so we're reading from milk3.n. And we're writing to milk3.out. Okay, so we're given A, B, and C. Okay, so we need to read A and B and C. Okay, so now, as I said before, we need like a function to DFS. So we can call this, and then remember we have our small a, our small b, and our small c. Okay, so now we need basically our visited array. So let's call this viz. Let's call this by 21, 21, and 21. So originally, every single value would be 0, so we just mem set it. Okay. So now basically we need a DFS from a equals 0, b equals 0, and c equals 0. Okay. C equals c. Okay, so now basically if we visited this specific state before, we can just not visit this. So now we just mark this as true. And then now we actually need our answer. So like we just to check if a equals 0. So basically if a equals 0, then answer just append c into it. Okay, so now we need to make our transitions. So basically if we port A to B, you would just DFS A, or we can actually have like a temporary storing file. So we can call this X. Okay, so in this case, X will be equal to min A B, DFS A minus X, B plus X, C. Second case is A to C. Then X will be equal to min of A and C, and then DFS A minus X, B, C plus X. Third case is if B to A, so then X would be again equal to min AB, and then you would DFS A plus X, B minus X, C. Fourth case is if it was B to C, then it would be X would be equal to min B, C, then you DFS A would stay the same, B would minus X, C plus X. Okay. Fifth case is if C to A, then X will be again equal to min AC, then you would DFS A plus X, B, and C minus X. Last case is if you're putting C to B, then X would be equal to min B and C, and then you would DFS A, B plus X, and C minus X. Okay, so now at the end we just need to sort our vector. Okay, so then after this we just need to print our answer. So basically we can do it like this. So we need to loop through each element. Okay. Or we can actually first print the first element. So we can print answer. We can print answer of 0. Okay, so for each of these, we need to print a space and then answer of I. Okay, at the end, we just print an end line. Actually, we need to use fout since we're writing to a file, not writing to std out. Okay, so let's actually make our file. Okay, so let's test our first case. Okay, I'm just going to write my login information. So my ID is download3. Problem is milk3. Okay, and then the language is C++11. So let's look at this. So it's tens, which is not correct. So now we can like debug this. Okay, min AB. This actually should be okay. Okay, so basically when you first come in, A is equal to 0. So then you would always pour 0 units, which is what we don't want. So this should actually be, since you're pouring from A to B, then basically B would have A minus B storage, or actually B minus B. Okay, when you pour from A to C, this would be equal to C minus C. This would be A minus A, C minus C, A minus A, and here would be B minus B. Let's check that. And what I mean here is because, okay, so B currently has small b units. So then it would have B, like the capacity minus B units. Okay, so now it looks like it's still not right, so we can check more. Okay, minimum of A, which is how much you have, to B, A to C, B to A, B to C, C to A, and C to B. Okay, so we can actually just print out our states so we can see out okay, so A, oops, B, C. Okay, so we actually have a lot of states. So I can look at this. So originally we have 0, 0, 10, which is what we want. Okay, so over here, basically, we're pouring C to A, but then since over here, we can look at our input. Okay, so this looks right. So since we can pour 8 units from C into A, which is right, and then it will be left with 2 units. Okay, so yes, you can pour over there. So over here, you should actually have calculate your answer for 2, but for some reason, we're not printing that. Okay, so we can A equals 0. Or we can basically print here. Basically, we just print if it inserted or not. Okay, so it says that it inserted to the answer. Okay, so 0, 0, C. Oh, never mind. It actually, also I was just looking at the wrong file. So it looks like that is right. I'm just going to submit it. Okay, just remove RC out. So here we go. Let me just select the files. Okay, so it's YouTube. This is Mother's Milk. Okay, so it looks like that is right. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Bye.